Yeah, obviously ecstatic about the victory. Beat a really good team on the road. They've been playing really, really good football. Team that lost to Penn State by 7, A&M by 7, beat Toledo soundly. Only loss they had league play. Their quarterback had got knocked out during the game. Really good defensive team, really good offensive team. Again, our defense was fantastic. Coach Breeken, the staff, and the players were on point the whole game. Never really. They gave that 192-yard drive, which again, credit to Bowling Green. They drove it all the way down the field. Really nice long drive, but that's what they do. They go on long methodical drives. We only let them do it once. They took Fannin not out of the game, but again, he was very little impact in the game. And he's such a great, great player. Obviously, went over 100 catches on the year, which is mind-boggling for any position, let alone a tight end catch 100 balls in a season. So, and then we got after the quarterback. The Stewart kids are really good back. Their other backs are good. The Johnson kids are good back. They got a bunch of good players. So we knew it'd be a battle. Obviously, had the two turnovers early. The one turn, the first turnover really was like a punt. So that really didn't have too much effect in the game. The second turnover looked like we scored a touchdown. Cade was out by a millimeter. And then Dylan has a great block, but he buried him out of bounds. It was a great block, but this day and age of football, you can't do anything too mean to anybody. So, then we're back, and then we throw a pick. And then, the sequence right after that, they get the safety. They get a great punt down to the half-yard line. We can't get it out of there. They stuff us 2 plays in a row. The second one's a safety. Then they go on a 48-yard drive and kick a field goal, and it's all of a sudden 7-5. And it looked like it was going to be 14-0. It was kind of like one of those, man, that was a huge swing. Miami's up 14. Cade's going in the end zone up 14-0, and now all of a sudden it's 7-5, and at their place and on the road in tough conditions. And then we go on a really nice 8-play, 82-yard drive. Great response by our offense in a key part in the game. It's 14-0. No, it's 7-2. No, it's 7-5. They've got all the momentum, and we go all the way down the field and score and make it 14-5. And then they put that nice drive together in the third quarter, 92-yard drive to make it 14-12. And it was, they gave us a win in the third to take the win in the fourth. We got to try to put the game away in the third because we got the wind. We got the short fields, hopefully, with punting, and it goes the opposite. They outscore us 7-0 in the third quarter, and they score early in the fourth. And again, it looks like, man, right according to plan for Bowling Green, they got their touchdown finally on our defense. They're down 2, and they have the wind, and they have the momentum. And then 2 plays later, we hit Javon for a big one. And again, offense answering. Both times that it looked like Bowling Green kind of was taking control of the game, our offense immediately answered with a touchdown. And then we get a stop, and then we get a 6-minute drive. Their win quarter, they got they scored to start the quarter. We scored right away. Then we got a 3-and-out, which was huge. And then we went on a 6-minute drive, basically wasted the whole fourth quarter. Went from 9 minutes to 3 minutes, and basically the game was over. So great win, great team win. Bev did a great job, 3 inside the 20. And then cut one through the wind for 52 yards, and then the kid muffed it and ended up net 52 into the wind, which was huge, obviously. So it was a good day for ST, good day for our offense. Mo went over 100 yards again. Mo went over 1,000 yards, and then defensively against, like I said, if you give up 12 points against or 10 points because they didn't give up the safety, if you give 10 points against anybody, you're having a great day on defense. You get 10 points against a team like Bowling Green at their place in a huge game. It was a just phenomenal job by the defensive staff and the defensive players, and key to the victory.
I guess we don't have to worry about you in the cold. You seem to be a relative of Bud Grant from the old Vikings outdoors or something, but what about the players? How was it for, say, Brett or the receivers, in the wind and the cold up there?
Yeah, I honestly thought both teams handled it fantastic. There wasn't drops, there wasn't fumbles, there wasn't, I thought both teams handled I think both teams were ready to go. You could tell in pregame, both teams, obviously, it's a huge game. You should be ready to go. It's your season's on the line, win or go home, basically. But I thought both teams, there wasn't, did the win affect some throws? Yes, both ways. Did the win affect kicking game? Heck yeah. But, their kid muffed the one on the punt. But again, That was about the only thing. The ball was fluttering, you know what I mean? So I thought both teams handled it great, and I think both teams blocked it out. Both teams was there to win a game, and we're like, whatever the conditions are, we're gonna come play in. So I thought it was for how windy it was, I thought it was a pretty dang clean game.
Silas Walters is always a guy that's been very impactful on special teams for you guys. He almost blocked the punt, forced the shank, had the down inside the 5-yard line. Just how nice is it to have a veteran player that clearly has that much of a priority on special teams?
Yeah, and again, a year ago, like that was his deal. Like he led the country in special teams tackles and was all over the field. And now this year, being a starter and playing every snap on defense, that's a huge burden to continue to play at a high level in ST. So last year it was kind of what he focused on all week, and he was fresh every time he went out there. A lot of times now when he's out there, he's not fresh. So the fact that he's continued to play at such a high level, being a starting safety for us and playing every down on defense, so that obviously downing the ball inside the 5 was huge, but the forcing the bad punt, we scored the next play. That was our first touchdown. So, again, it's always like the plays you don't remember. You remember the touchdown to Cade. What set up was Silas Walters, as you remember, making that huge play. And you don't have to block him. You get that close and you force a 12-yard punt and you set up a instant field position, and then we took advantage of it. So, he's been phenomenal for 2 years. I think it's even more impressive this year because he's playing every down. I think if you have that special teams role and that's your role, it's not that it's still not impressive what he did a year ago, but that's what he did. Now this year he's doing everything for us.
Guys had kind of an early edge against Ohio in the first meeting, and then obviously got a little bit closer late. Just what did you see maybe in that second half when Bobcats finally started to move the ball and started to score?
Really the first game, it was 30-6 in the fourth quarter, and they put their subs in, we put our subs in. So I don't see the game going that way again. Like I said, after the first time we played them, we beat a really good team, and we made a really good team not look as good. They didn't have probably their best game that day, and we played really well. So it just and we made some big plays and capitalized on our opportunities. The game was closer than the score, but it was 16-6 late in the third. Next thing it was 30-6. Just there's about a 5-6 play sequence, and the game ended quickly. So they've been rolling. I think they've outscored their opponents in the 5 wins since then, like 184-56 or something like that. They have been just throttling everyone. So much like us, they've been getting better and better as the year's gone on, and they're the same team because they're OU and they do what they do and they do it really well, and they're really well coached and their kids understand but there's like us, we've been getting better and better as the year gone on. We're a better team than we were 5 weeks ago. They're a better team. They just keep getting better because they keep coaching their kids and they keep doing things the right way, and that's what you do if you want to get better.
What was different for you guys in that first meeting? Because kind of to that point, you'd struggled a little bit to deal with the mobile quarterbacks, and that was really the first time we saw you guys kind of shut it down. So what was important in kind of limiting Parker Navarro's legs? Yeah,
it's just hard. He's I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. It's when you have a kid as athletic as Navarro and can throw it and run it, and he's thrown for over 300, he's run for over 200 in games. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's every play you got to be on your toes because any play can go big. He makes so many big plays for them, and they use him so many different ways and so many designed runs, and then he's so dangerous scrambling on top of just the design runs. So, just dangerous every play. Like, we were playing better at that point in the year. Like, we had kind of got our head up at Eastern Michigan, and we were kind of hitting our stride, and that was we were starting to get going and playing the game the way we like to play. And so, like I said, we played really well that day, and hopefully we'll play well again.
Could we talk to the players a little bit about this as well? But no MAC team has repeated since 2012. No Miami team has repeated in 50 years. Just a win this week, what would that mean just personally to you?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Just, we talk about the kids, like, we haven't repeated since 75. It's hard to do. Like, again, it's not, you bring it up just because it's hard to do. We've been talking about since January, it's hard to repeat. I mean, that's for first team meetings, nobody repeats. I know the Chiefs repeated, okay, but I just, I know the Bulls repeated twice, they had 3 repeats, but those are, in the history of sports, every single time a team wins a Super Bowl, they're favored to win it the next year. They rarely do. Every single time a team wins an NBA title, they're favored to win it the next year. They rarely do. And they rarely even come close. They usually don't lose in the finals. The Nuggets lost early. And that's the normal, because you're never that much better than anyone to win it. We won it last year by the skin of our teeth, right? You're at the game. Toledo could have easily won that football game. We made a couple more plays than Toledo. We didn't go in there and beat Toledo by 40. So you get to championship games, not always, but typically they're pretty even, closely contested games. So, to win one of them is just hard, And then what happens is you take your foot off the gas. You still try hard, but you don't try as hard. You still prepare hard, but you don't prepare as hard. Well, guess what? The team that didn't get there and is trying to get there for the first time, they're preparing harder, and that's, they're playing harder. And, I thought Toledo played extremely hard last year in the MAC championship game. They didn't play as hard as us. They didn't play as hard as our kids. And I thought they played. I was there. It was a knockdown, drag-out. They wanted it really bad. They didn't want it as bad as us. 2 years ago, they probably, but they were the defending champs, And then it's hard sometimes in these games when you're favored, because when you're favored, you think you're supposed to win. You beat them last time, whatever, So it's just hard to repeat anything. The history of sports, if you follow sports, there's LeBron James never repeated. Well, if LeBron James has never repeated, well, it must not be that easy, because he's been great every single year of his life. It's not like he had a bad year and that's why they didn't get it done. It just, and he was on championship teams that brought people back, and you have the same team, So it's just hard to do. And like I said, our first meeting in January I said, nobody repeats. Nobody repeats. I'm not saying that Miami since 75. I'm just saying generally in sports, you go so many years, the Spurs are good, and the team looks so good when they win it, they're going to be unbeatable. Well, it's usually the kiss of death, because, we talk about having to win versus wanting to win. Nobody doesn't want to win, but some people have to win. Last year we had to win. When Brett went down, we had to win. Our team had to win. We went to OU the next week, we had to win. We had to win. We had to win the next week. We went to Detroit last year, we had to win that game. That was our mindset. Once you win it, a lot of times you don't have to do it. You already have it. You have the trophy, you have the ring, you have that experience. That's not, So then the other team has to do it, OU has to do it this week. Do we have to do it? I don't know. It's going to, we'll find out. So there's a reason. It's not by accident that teams don't win back-to-back years. It's very, 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 very difficult to do and very rare.
You had that little mini break coming into last week. How helpful was it to get Cade back and, some of the others, for a really big game?
Yeah, well, obviously getting Cade back was great for first time in 4 weeks that he played, and so he's a huge weapon for us. And, we didn't really get anybody else back, but just him alone getting back was he's one of our best football players, So getting one of your best football players back after a 3-week absence was awesome. And then just getting, everyone's beat up week 12. If you have a couple extra days, you're a little less beat up. So like we said, it was nice, to be as fresh as you can for week 12. So